Hi, I would like to take a few minutes to go through one of the problems on page 23. You will take what I do on page 23 and apply it to help you with page 24 and 25. So it says the following graph shows the amount of money Jackson has in a savings account. The equation represented by this graph is y equals 20x plus 40. Now answer the following questions. What does the slope represent? Be specific. So there's two places that you can find the slope. One is we know that it's the number in front of x. We know that the slope is 20. You can also find it on the graph. If you see this point and this point, you could do rise, so it takes it up. So it started at 40, it goes up to 60, so it went up 20 over 1. So the change in y was 20 and the change in x was 1, so you know it is going to be a 20, whether you look at the graph or the equation. Now, how do you label that? What does it represent? Well, think about what we know about slope. We know that it's the rise over the run. And so the rise, that description is the amount of money. So we normally measure that in dollars. So it would be dollars, that's your rise. So dollars over weeks. And so what that looks like is how much money per week. Well, we found the slope was $20 per 1 week. So that's what it represents. He is saving $20 a week. When you look at the Y-intercept, what does it represent? Be specific. Well, here you can find it on the graph. The Y-intercept is going to be the beginning point. It's going to be where it crosses the Y-axis, where x is 0. And so it literally means at 0 weeks, how much money does he have? Well, it's up at 40. So you would say that he begins with $40. You can find that in the equation right up here. It's the number that's by itself. That's how much he had to start with or to begin with. So there's where the y-intercept is in the equation. Here's where it's at in the graph. It's where x equals 0. And so what does it mean? What does it represent? It means that he starts with $40 in his savings account. How much money will he have in his account after 12 weeks? Now, last week when we were doing these predictions, we would look where x is 12 and then we would look up. But then it's like, oh, geez, it's going to be like way up here. How in the world am I supposed to use that graph to predict something that's so far off the graph? So now I want to encourage you that and you have another tool. You can use the equation to come up with it. So the equation was y equals 20x plus 40. Well, you want to know how much money he has in his savings after 12 weeks. Well, the weeks, that's what we labeled our x-axis. So that means the weeks would be x. And so it's like they are telling you what x is. So you're going to plug 12 in for x. So then it becomes 20 times 12 plus 40. Notice we just took the equation, but we multiplied it by 12. We substituted the x for 12, or 12 in for x. 20 times 12 is 240. 240 plus 40 is 280. So in 12 weeks, he would have $280. Next, how many weeks will it take for him to have $200 in his account? Well, we know that it's $200. So we know the y value. So we know that if you have our equation y equals 20x plus 40, we know that y is 200. So it's 200 equals 20x plus 40. From there, you have to think back to last year. Think about solving equations. You want to get x by itself. And so the first step you would do is you want to move this 40 to the other side. You can't just erase it. So you have to do a math operation. So since it's a positive 40, you're going to subtract 40 from both sides. So subtract 40 here, subtract it over here. That leaves 160 on the left, and then I'm left with the 20x on the right. Well, now I have 160 equals 20 times x. The opposite of times is divide, so I'm going to divide both sides by 20, and I get x equals 8. That means in 8 weeks, he would have $200. You can double check that on the graph. Here's 8 weeks. $200 would be up here somewhere, and you can tell, you can't see if I'm using my, if you extended this line at 8, it would go to 200. So that is the first problem. So hopefully that helped, and now I want you to try a couple on your own. However, on page 24, the first thing I want you to do is you're going to take the line that I gave you, and I already have it done, but you're going to take the line and you want to make a line of best fit. I thought the best fit data would be to put the line through 0, 0, and over here on our 3-day mark, because then we have a 2 below, we have 3 above it. They're all pretty close. So if you draw your line from 0 to the 3 mark, then you should be able to come up with the same answer that I have. So step 1, how much does the landscaper make on average per day? Well, anytime you see each day or per day, that's going to be the slope. So 1 is asking you to find the slope. And then 2, you're finding the graph. And then 4, you're also looking at the graph. So you're going to do this one. And then on page 25, you will see a couple more examples of like, hey, if this is the equation, think about what the slope would represent and what the y-intercept would represent. Remember, the number in front of x, that's your slope. The number that's by itself is your y-intercept. Please reach out and let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.